In this session, we continue in Genesis 40. Action is starting to pick up. Joseph is called upon to interpret a dream. Now notice, back in verse 8. Basically, since Joseph was in charge, when he said, "Tell me your dream," it was like an order to do so. And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph and said unto him, "In my dream, behold, a vine was before me." The chief butler was the first to tell it to him at once. It appeared to him in his dream as if a vine appeared to him suddenly and stood before him. This was a very suitable dream to who he was. You see, he was the chief steward of all things drink related. Now, if anybody could poison Pharaoh, it could be him. Yep, slip something into the drink and he's gone. So, wine is the fruit of the vine which he provided for his master the king and presented it to him to drink. We're getting all this from Genesis 49 to 14. So, he continued, that's the butler. And in the vine were 3 branches, and it was as though it budded, and her blossoms shot forth, and the clusters thereof brought forth ripe grapes. Woo! You know what? He saw, listen to this. It was like he was seeing time-lapse photography or a video in his dream. If you've ever watched on National Geographic that they're showing a flower, the flower from when it was planted, and all of a sudden it grew and then bloop, opened up and blossomed. This is what he saw in his dream. Freaked me out. This is before he ever knew what time-lapse photography was or was ever invented. The 3 branches that had sprouted out, budded, then turned into blossoms, which after blowing off, revealed clusters of tender, ripe grapes. Now that dream would freak me out if I saw that too. So while he was busy observing this in his dream, he looked down. Whoa! He noticed Pharaoh's cup was in his hand. And he took the grapes, pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and he gave the cup to Pharaoh's hand. From this we find that wine in the ancient world was not just the fermented variety with alcohol. It was also the expressed juice of the grapes without the fermentation. You realize it was his job when there was fruit to squeeze it, put it in his cup, and then give it to him. Really, anything drink related is what the butler was in charge of. And Joseph said to him, "This is the interpretation. The 3 branches are 3 days." Where did he get that from? Joseph was reassured by the Spirit of God, God's Holy Spirit, that his interpretation was true. Only by divine revelation, only by being informed by God himself could Joseph have known 3 branches are 3 days. No one could have made a time connection to it. No one could have made that kind of connection to the branches. Even the most skilled, trying to figure it out, even the most skilled magicians in the land wouldn't have been able to figure that one out. So what about the 3 days? He continued his interpretation. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up your head and restore you to your place, and you shall deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand, just like you did before when you were a full-fledged butler. So sure was he of what the Holy Spirit showed him, that Jesus made a fervent plea. What did he beg him to do? He said, think on me when it shall be well with you, and show kindness, I pray, to me. Make mention of me to Pharaoh, and bring me out of this house. You know, up until now, in Joseph's story, nothing was recorded to clearly indicate Joseph's feelings. We were just told Joseph did this, Joseph did this, Joseph was there, Joseph was righteous, Joseph. But you know what? Here we get when he said, show your kindness and tell Pharaoh to get me out of here. This revealed a sadness and impatient longing for release, which not all his deep devotion and faith in God could get rid of. In the past, when I was younger, I've been through some pretty bad messes. And you know what? I was impatient to get out of that mess. Even my faith and devotion to God, couldn't put that feeling down. I loved God, but I kept asking, hey, come on, God, hurry up. Why? Why am I still in this mess? Yes, Joseph was privileged and thankful, but he wasn't free. So, in 2 years, the butler did make mention of Joseph to Pharaoh. But you know what? You know what we forget sometimes? We always say we want it now. We look at something on TV and we say, oh, I gotta have that. I want it now. Do we need it? Not always. But we want it now, don't we? And so it was with Joseph. But you can't blame him. He was in a stinking slavehood for how many years? 15 years. I'm telling you, that's crazy. Well, anyway, in 2 years, the butler did make mention of Joseph unto Pharaoh, but it was really in God's timing. Like Joseph, we often get impatient too, don't we? Because we do not. This is why we get impatient. We don't see God's big picture. Be patient, servant of God. Be patient, follower of Christ. Be patient. God did not forget you.